Welcome back. Now we're going to take a look at part 1 of the Book of Masdaq, the Zeitunian Epoch, the truth of Zutun Barg's Diasima. All of this is fictional, all of this I have written, and all of this is maybe inspired work, who knows, for the sake of peace in the world. Yeah? In this part of the Book of Masdaq, we witness the life and journey of our seer Zutun Barg from his birthplace on Chaku Island, to his deaths on Ka'ara Island. Between these two islands is a continent of adventure and change. One time I'm going to maybe show you the map, all right? But right now I'm just going to be reading it. This continent, Terawang, was the first place where humans had existed in the Orthrons. Hence his journey is a summary of its history and peoples at the precipice of a new world. The Orthorential humans were gathered together to face the Orthorential beings who lived beyond, and Zutun Barg was the bridge who would unite these two groups through his life and teachings. Power in this part of the book is defined simply as the Diasima, or journey away from disempowerment to empowerment. In other words, you get power when you stop doing things that disempower you. Or in the case of the seer Zutun Barg, when you walk away from disempowerment or perform the Diasima. In this comes sacrifice and submission to one's own truths and values, embedded in the virtues of rightful living. Zutun Barg has personally authored this part of the book. It was seen as his memoirs and personal experience. Chapter 1 to 14 is in this epoch. And we start with chapter 1 today and end with it today. The life of Zutun Barg. This is the life of Zutun Barg. The boy was born to both Senator Credarius and Manishla Barg. The town of his birth was Badr Chaku, located on the island of that name. When he was born, his first word was Da'esima. Prophetic in many ways, the Yagorjan said that he would leave home one day. Zutun Barg was raised according to the Yagorjan faith of his mother. Yet this was not the faith of the Yagorjans in Sheshamaya, but it was a watered-down version of the faith propagated by charlatans. Even so, Zutun Barg was raised by a Yagorjan priest called Afba Hezek. Abba taught him that the Magus, Namash, wanted people to be chosen of God. This teaching was very useful to the young seer, but Afba died shortly after the teaching when Zutun Barg was 12 years old. So his mother asked Senator Credarius to take him to the Waffle Musicus. From then on, he became a Romanoi senator and learned the sciences of ventriloquism. His new teacher was a Romanoi called Magister Euphemius Malcresa. Malcresa taught him how to read, write, and absorb the teachings of the law. The books of Heraldian were intriguing, and Zutun Barg saw Orthorential history as worthy of a cause to undertake. It was at this point that Zutun Barg felt he had been cheated by the Yagorjans, but the senator nor his son would pray the Musquitat way. Musquitat is not Muslim, the meaning is Musicosa Caetatis, which is another religion based on Tao teachings. Okay? All right. At the age of 32, Zutun Barg decided to do what the Yagorjans called Diasima. It was a long walk from Badr Chaku to the coast. Then he would take a boat to Kultub in Turkasia on the Traunian mainland. From Kultub, he was to walk to Sal. Here the teaching was that one step was to be away from what was familiar. From there to a land of potential and adventure. From the seer's life, there are a few things we can learn from this chapter. Always seek your ambitions. Walk away from your troubles. Try the traditions of your ancestors, even if they are unsuited. For all experiences are worthy experiences in life. A varied life is one worth living. The seer arrived in Kultub with much festivity. There he met a young Tefnonian prince called Shwazagar. He was genteel and had many companions who were to become faithful disciples. Along with Shwazagar was Eusebius, Astronator, Habias, Zelaphil, and Zeitunius. The journey was south towards the land of the Ozems. The beacon was the desert, saith Zutun Barg. Behold the desert, for it is here that we will meet our teachers. Thus the seer and his disciples began their long walk to Saul. Thus endeth the reading. Okay, so this is an interesting reading about the seer, Zutun Barg, and I have had his story in my head since I was 10 years old. And I've written an entire book based on his life, which was inspired to me through play and through all sorts. And I'm very grateful to as a storyteller, to tell you this story. Not to encourage any kind of new religion or anything like that, but to basically, maybe we listen to the story as a field of morality, understanding that moral values pervade all religions, and that in order for us to live a good life, we ought to live a moral life as well, away from judgment, away from problems, away from all those things. Sometimes in life, we live in the process, we live in content, but we don't live in process. One thing I've learned about in my life, in mindfulness and in recovery, because I'm recovering from addiction, is that mindfulness is about understanding the process as well as the content. So I can say my religion is the best religion in the world. But when I do that, what is the process that I'm engaged in? Am I engaged in a loving process, or am I engaged in a process where I'm saying I'm righteous and you're wrong? It's most likely the latter process, right? So if you truly are someone who loves your religion and want to uphold a good moral standard, this is the first thing you should do. And the second thing you should do is pray. Always pray to God, to seek a humble heart and a direction that is worth all the wisdom. And the best wisdom in the world is the wisdom of silence before speech. Thank you for listening.